Welcome to the Chanel, the psychological warning. You're watching this because something inside you already knows. You've felt it. That moment when you said something you didn't mean. That time you reacted and regretted it seconds later. That conversation where you lost control and they won. You didn't lose because you were wrong. You lost because you were emotional. And in that moment, you became predictable, controllable, weak. This is not a motivational channel. This is not here to make you feel good. This channel exists to show you what most people refuse to see until it's too late. And today's warning is simple. Your emotions are a weapon, but not in your hands, in theirs. Let me tell you a story, not a fairy tale, not a lesson wrapped in hope, just a moment, a psychological moment that happens every single day. There was a man, let's call him Daniel. Daniel was smart, educated, successful on paper, but Daniel had one problem. He reacted. When someone questioned him, he defended. When someone provoked him, he argued. When someone pushed his buttons, he exploded. And the people around him, they knew it. His coworkers knew that if they wanted him out of a meeting, they just had to challenge his idea in front of others. He'd get defensive, emotional, and suddenly his valid point didn't matter anymore because all anyone saw was his reaction. His boss knew that if he wanted Daniel to work weekends, he just had to imply someone else was stepping up more. Daniel's pride would kick in, he'd agree, not because he wanted to, but because he couldn't control the emotional need to prove himself. His partner knew that if she stayed calm while he got upset, she would win every argument, not with logic, not with truth, but with composure. Because the person who stays calm controls the narrative, and the person who reacts loses. Daniel never saw it. He thought he was standing up for himself. He thought he was being honest, authentic, real. But what he was actually doing, handing people the remote control to his nervous system. Now, let me ask you something. How many times have you been Daniel? How many times have you reacted when you should have been silent? How many times did someone say one sentence and you couldn't let it go? How many times did you feel that heat rise in your chest, that tightness in your throat, and you spoke anyway? And how many times did you regret it 5 minutes later? You see, this is not about being cold. It's not about being emotionless. It's about understanding a truth most people deny until they've already lost everything. Your emotions are not private. They are visible, readable, predictable. And the moment someone learns your emotional pattern, you are no longer in control. They are. Here's the psychology. Every time you react emotionally, you reveal a trigger point, a button, a weakness. And smart people, manipulative people, they collect those buttons like keys. They don't need to fight you. They don't need to argue. They just need to know which word makes you defensive, which topic makes you uncomfortable, which tone makes you panic. And once they know, they own you. Think about the last time someone made you angry, really angry. What did they say? Now ask yourself, did they say it by accident, or did they know exactly what they were doing? Most people assume everyone else is as emotionally chaotic as they are, but that's not true. There are people walking around you right now who have mastered something you haven't. Emotional opacity. They don't reveal, they don't react, they observe, they wait. And while you're busy explaining, defending, proving, and reacting, they're taking notes. Let me give you another example. A woman named Sarah. Sarah worked in corporate. She was good at her job, but she had a coworker. Let's call him Mark. Mark was average at best. But Mark understood people, especially Sarah. Mark noticed that every time someone interrupted Sarah in a meeting, she would tense up. Her voice would get sharper. She'd try to talk over them. She wanted to be heard. So Mark started doing it on purpose. Not aggressively, just enough. A small comment here, a polite interruption there, and every time Sarah reacted, she got flustered. She looked emotional, and in a room full of executives, emotional means unstable. Unstable means unpromotable. Mark never had to be better than Sarah. He just had to stay calm while she didn't. And 6 months later, Mark got the promotion, not because he deserved it, but because Sarah's emotions made her look weak. Now here's the part that hurts. Sarah never knew. She thought she lost because she wasn't good enough. She thought she needed to work harder, be louder, prove more. But the truth, she lost the moment she let her emotions become visible. She lost the moment. She reacted instead of responded. You see, there's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting is automatic. It's fast. It's emotional. It's driven by the part of your brain that wants to survive, to defend, to win right now. But responding is intentional. It's slow. It's controlled. It's driven by the part of your brain that thinks 3 steps ahead. When you react, you're operating from your limbic system, the emotional, primal part of your brain, the part that doesn't care about strategy. It just wants to feel right. But when you respond, you're operating from your prefrontal cortex, the part that plans, that calculates, that wins. And here's what most people will never tell you. The world rewards people who respond, not people who react. Your boss doesn't promote the person who speaks their mind. They promote the person who stays calm under pressure. Your partner doesn't respect you more when you argue louder. They respect you when you can stay silent while they lose control. Your enemies don't fear your anger. They fear your lack of it, because when you don't react, you become unreadable, unpredictable, dangerous, and that terrifies people who rely on emotional control to win. Most people think they understand manipulation. They think it's obvious, loud, dramatic, but that's not how it works in real life. Real manipulation is quiet, invisible, and by the time you realize what's happening, you've already given them exactly what they wanted. There's a technique that doesn't have a fancy name. Most people who use it don't even realize they're doing it. It's called emotional baiting, and it's devastatingly simple. Someone says something, not an insult, not an attack, just a comment, a question, a carefully chosen phrase, something that seems innocent on the surface, but it's not. It's bait. And the moment you bite, the moment you react, they've won. Here's an example. You're in a meeting. You present an idea. You've done your research. You know it works. And then someone across the table says this interesting idea. I just wonder if you've really thought through all the angles here. That's it. 6 seconds, 12 words. And on the surface, it sounds reasonable, polite even, constructive. But here's what just happened. They didn't challenge your idea. They challenged your competence. They planted a seed of doubt. Not in their mind, in everyone else's. And they did it in a way that makes you look defensive if you respond. If you stay silent, it looks like you agree. Like maybe you didn't think it through. But if you defend yourself, if you explain, if you try to prove you did your homework, you look insecure, emotional. And in that room, emotional means weak. Either way, you lose, and the person who said it, they stay calm, neutral, reasonable, untouchable. This is the game. And most people don't even know they're playing it. Now let's talk about timing. Because manipulation isn't just about what someone says, it's about when they say it. Think about the last time someone brought up something sensitive, right before an important moment, right before a presentation, right before a family gathering, right before you went to sleep. It wasn't random. It wasn't poor timing. It was strategic. Know that if they bring something up when you're already stressed, you're more likely to snap. If they bring it up when you're tired, you're more likely to give in just to end the conversation. If they bring it up in public, you're more likely to stay quiet, to avoid a scene. They're not just talking to you. They're managing your emotional state, controlling the battlefield, and you don't even realize you're in a fight. Here's another weapon: silence. You've felt this one before. You say something, you ask a question, you make a point, and the other person just looks at you. They don't respond, they don't argue, they don't react. They just let the silence hang there like a weight. And what do? You fill it. You explain more. You justify. You backtrack. You keep talking until you've said too much, until you've revealed something you didn't mean to. The reason this works is hardwired into your brain. Humans are social animals. We're built to seek connection, approval, resolution. We don't like tension. We don't like uncertainty. So when someone goes silent, your brain interprets it as rejection, as disapproval, and you scramble to fix it. You over-explain. You apologize for things you shouldn't. You give away your position, your thoughts, your weaknesses, all because you couldn't sit with 5 seconds of uncomfortable silence. But here's the difference. The person using silence against you, they're perfectly comfortable with it. They've trained themselves to wait, to watch you unravel, to let you defeat yourself. And every word you say in that silence is ammunition. They're storing for later. This is how emotional manipulation works at its finest. It's not about winning arguments. It's about making the other person defeat themselves. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The question is what you're going to do about it. Merged Script Part 2, exactly 1,500 words. Seamless continuation. There's a cost to living your life controlled by your emotions. A real cost, not abstract, not philosophical, concrete, measurable. The kind you feel in your chest when you look back and realize how much you've lost, how many opportunities slipped away, how many relationships crumbled, how many versions of yourself you had to abandon because you couldn't control what you felt in the moment. Let me tell you what happens when you ignore everything we've talked about, when you keep reacting, keep defending, keep letting people push your buttons and pull your strings. Because most people do ignore it. They hear the warning. They nod along. They think, yeah, that makes sense. And then they go right back to doing exactly what they've always done, and they pay for it over and over again. First, you lose respect, not all at once. It's gradual, subtle, but it's happening every time. You react emotionally in a professional setting. People take note. They don't say anything. They just file it away. Emotional, unpredictable, can't handle pressure, can't be trusted with bigger responsibilities. And the opportunities start going to other people, not because they're smarter, not because they're more capable, but because they're calmer, because they don't make situations more complicated with their reactions. You've seen this happen. Maybe it's happened to you. You watch someone less qualified get promoted, someone who doesn't work as hard, someone who doesn't care as much, and you don't understand why. But here's why. They didn't react when the boss criticized them in front of the team. They didn't get defensive when their idea was challenged. They didn't let their emotions make them look weak. And in the world of power dynamics, perception is everything. The person who stays calm looks like a leader. The person who reacts looks like a liability. Second, you lose relationships, real ones, the kind that matter. Because people get tired. They get tired of walking on eggshells around you. They get tired of managing your emotions. They get tired of every conversation turning into a thing because you can't just let something go. And eventually, they stop trying. They stop calling. They stop sharing. They stop trusting you with anything real. Not because they don't care about you, but because being around you is exhausting. Think about the people who've drifted away from your life, the friendships that just faded, the relationships that ended not with a fight, but with distance. How many of those happened because you were too reactive, too sensitive, too quick to take things personally? You probably told yourself, they changed, they got busy, they weren't real friends anyway. But the truth, they got tired of your emotional volatility. They got tired of never knowing which version of you they were going to get. Here's what happens in romantic relationships. In the beginning, your emotional intensity feels like passion, like depth, like connection. But over time, it becomes weight. Your partner starts to realize that they can't have a simple conversation without it turning into an emotional event. They can't give you feedback without you getting defensive. They can't express their needs without you making it about your insecurity. And slowly, they start shutting down. They start hiding things, not because they're dishonest, but because honesty with you is too costly. It requires too much emotional management, too much cleanup, too much damage control, and you don't see it happening. You just notice they're more distant, less open, less engaged, and you react to that too. You get more anxious, more demanding, more emotional, and the cycle feeds itself until the relationship is just two people coexisting in the same space, both exhausted, both resentful, both wondering how it got this bad. Third, you lose yourself. This is the part people don't talk about enough. When you live your life reacting to everything, you never develop a stable sense of self. You're constantly shifting based on external triggers. Someone criticizes you and you crumble. Someone praises you and you soar. Someone ignores you and you spiral. Your emotional state is completely dependent on what's happening around you. And that means you're not really living your life. It's time to take it back. This is the psychological warning. Subscribe if you're ready to see what most people refuse to see, to learn what most people are too comfortable to learn, to become the kind of person who can't be controlled, can't be manipulated, can't be broken by words or silence or games. Most people won't. They'll keep being emotional, keep being predictable, keep being used. But you're not most people, are you?